passing the class that we need to mocking. When you don't use a constructor and adding object directly to the class, you cannot test the functionality of the and of the dependencies. For example, calling the dependency of the class, calling the method of dependency of the class to the one method, and you writing a test for this method, but you cannot changing the behavior of the method during the test. But when you're using a constructor and passing the object during to the constructor of the class, you can marking the object and changing the behavior of the method and function to the class and
Yeah,
testing the application.
let's talk about the other paradigms. You mentioned assembly, procedural, functional, OP, probably aspect-oriented programming or some any other paradigms you can remember or you can know somehow.
Aspect oriented programming.
No, except that.
Yeah.
Ignore that.
Any paradigms?
Much modern one. She didn't say it.
Uh, Actor model, I think.
Hmm.
No.
Actor model is a pattern. I'm not sure.
Uh,
Top of paradigm.
uh, yeah, yeah. And
It's also
comment.
popular in Java community.
Java, functional, object oriented, AOP. I don't
What
know.
do you know about RX Java?
Oh, jeez.
So what do you know about that?
um, Reactive programming.
Yeah, what is
Yeah.
it?
Um, I think I don't work with reactive programming in my jobs and in my career, but I know reactive programming working is a non-blocking programming. You can manipulate data
What to work with?
without blocking.
You need it. You work with, and somehow it's really fun. It changes your mind. I mean, the way that you look at the code and you write much more efficient code and more advanced code. So, anything you know about the reactive programming?
Yeah, I
No
think in the
idea you
reactive
have what is
program.
it? Where do we
Um,
use reactive programming?
in Spring, when we need to create a non-blocking APIs, we use reactive programming,
Yeah, when we
and
need non-blocking APIs.
uh,
When we need a non-blocking APIs?
it depends of the APIs. For example, for example, we have APIs that get a lot of requests, and
Hmm.
when we need to respond immediately, but during the application we work. For example, we change the state,
How
but
it
it's not
works? I mean,
important.
I request to something, and that doesn't give me the data that I'm looking, but tells me that yeah, eventually he's going
Yeah.
to reply to me. What do we call this pattern?
Uh, eventual consistency.
No, that's for database. I'm talking about the call between services.
Asynchronize.
Yes, this is asynchronous programming.
Yeah.
And when do we use asynchronous programming?
Yeah.
When do we use it?
When do you use it? Uh,
Come
when
on, do your interview for like 2, 3, 4 weeks. So
uh, we use asynchronous APIs when we need to
not API, asynchronous call, general.
asynchronous call.
When do we use
Yeah,
it?
for improving the performance.
No, that's the yeah, it happens, but that's
This
not the case.
uh, The changing the state of changing the data is not
No,
important.
no. Do not play with the vocabularies and somehow just say something randomly. The use for asynchronous programming started mostly with microservices because we need decoupling the services. They shouldn't depend on each other. For decoupling, we need asynchronous call. When everything is asynchronous, when all the things are communicating asynchronously, that's the reactive programming.
Yeah. I thought your question about just about APIs,
No, I said
but the
call. I said asynchronous call, a general one. Please
yeah,
notice, pay attention, be fully in this session that we have. I said call, not about API, anything. For example, if I call you with
yes,
my phone and you have to answer that, this is a synchronous call. But if I
exactly,
message you and throw my phone and waiting another hours, you reply to my message, this is asynchronous call.
exactly. And
No
I
longer
think so we
I'm
have
depending on your reply. 1 hour later, you can reply to me. Then the whole concept of message queuing and then subscription, pops up model, all of these are because of asynchronous programming, and asynchronous programming is for decoupling services that we have. Decouple not the
yeah,
service, anything. Decouple operating system from a task, kernel from a module. If we decoupling we need it, asynchronous is the way to go.
yeah. And I think we have two reasons to choose between sync and asynchronous.
So,
When the response of the data is important for us using synchronous because we need to waiting for the response and
response of the
manipulating the
data is
response.
important. You mean priority?
Yeah.
It's
For
okay.
example,
Actually, yeah.
we call on other services, and the data responses from the other services is important for us. We use synchronize,
You mean
but
we
the
have to
asynchronous,
wait? We have to wait.
yeah, exactly.
Is it okay? For example,
For
banking, the transaction is important. Do we wait for the transaction be done or no?
It depends. For example, I work with Mofid APIs,
Hmm.
and we get the all the transaction of the people adding to the Mofid services.
Hmm.
And when the people call the Mofid APIs, we need to waiting for the all data, fetching all data from the Mofid APIs, and the connection between us is synchronous. But the asynchronous, when we don't important for us, and we can to using asynchronous approach,
I'm not sure.
uh,
No, it's not
choosing
about the
them.
importance of the data. Mostly we use asynchronous one nowadays because somehow improving the performance, as you said, also scalability is really increased. We can scale the
Yeah,
application by decoupling. When we decouple that, the performance is better. Probably we talk about a few millisecond network call delay, but we are not tightly coupled to the other services, to other functions, to other anything that we somehow try to connect to. And this is much more, for example, even we can apply, for example, for logging. If we log to a disk or to a database, instead of writing to the disk and waiting for the disk reply or response that it has been done, we have to somehow consume lots of IO. For this, we just send it to the IO, and later we collect the errors if we had any. So that's the reason. It's not just about these important things. I mean, to decouple things and somehow run it faster, especially in multi-thread environment. When we can't use multi-thread, we have a single thread. Just as asynchronous one is really important. Because of this, Node.js default function and behavior is asynchronous functions because it has a single thread. So that's the reason. Anything
okay.
else?
Nothing. But about the interview, I'm not sad. I'm, I'm, yeah, because the first interview, the after 2 years, but and I moved to the end,
Yeah, that was okay. I'm not
and
sure if they don't give us the feedback. It doesn't make sense even why you have been invited into the interview. Probably the interview was a test. The whole interview was test. We don't know really. If they don't say what was the reason, we cannot somehow. find the reason they rejected. Probably it was a test. We don't know. Probably they were testing something, or somehow HR test for warming up themselves for. So I'm not sure. But ask them directly again to why they rejected you. This is the thing. Directly ask them on some social media if you have access. The second thing that probably we change our time class to 9:30 to 10. If you have probably problem with this, tell me. Also, I want
No, I
to
don't have
share
any.
my classes on YouTube, the audio file, not the video file. I want to share. If you have any problem with this, also let me know.
Okay.
And yeah, we continue next session with focusing totally on OOP and having more focus on OOP and OOP problems and somehow implementation. Any question, anything else you want to tell me?
Okay. The next session started from 9:30.
Yeah, not this week, probably next week. So you can
Okay.
plan for that.
Okay.
Anything
It's okay
else?
for me. Nothing. Thank you.
See you next session. Have a good time. Bye for now.
Bye.